Okay, hey everybody, this is Witches of the Moon, and our topic this week is Oracle versus Tarot. And I know you're like, what does this have anything to do with it? I'll explain that in a minute. I decided instead of giving you more of a history of Tarot Oracle, which I believe a lot of people are doing, I'll show you an easy way of how to read Tarot. And I know this is all confusing, but you'll understand it in a second. Okay, first things first is the Oracle. Oracle cards are beautiful. There are many different types of Oracle cards. Many serious readers don't particularly like Oracle cards, mainly because they have a light, fluffy meanings, and you know most cannot get a balanced reading with the negative with the positive. For me, I find that I like Oracle cards when giving a reading to other people because you know, in tarot cards they have cards like the Death card and the Judgment card, and most people don't like seeing that. But they don't understand right off that death just means rebirth and judgments are judgments we place on ourselves. So, you know, I find that Oracle cards are better. Now, this is one deck. This is Doreen Virtues. Again, each Oracle deck comes with their own book, their own style of reading. You can read it like that, or you can go by your own intuition. I suggest your own intuition. Again, like I said, I like doing Oracle cards when reading for others. I personally can get balanced readings. They say you're not supposed to read the cards in reverse, but I personally do. There's also, Oracle cards are also good just for me, just pulling the energy of the week. This is one of the decks I use for the energy of the week where, you know, this one says study. This one says art. So I know the week I pull study, I need to study more. The week I pull artist, I need to be more creative. The week I pull build, I need to work on more things. Oracle cards, I need to, you know, spend more time on Oracle cards. Options, I need to weigh my options. That's, you know, that's just one deck. I don't want to take too long on any particular deck, but this is another one. This is one of the decks that I love. It's the Oracle deck, and the reason why I love it is because it doesn't have too much detail stuff. It's more of fractal art, which lets me connect directly to my creative side, and also because of the colors, I normally read these cards according to chakras, and if I don't feel like doing that, they actually have words on it, which can give you an idea of, you know, what the card actually means and how it means when you pull it. I'm sorry, these cards upside down, so you can see those. These are, I think, Return of the Spirit by Shirley Harnish. That's what this deck is. This is another deck. Now, personally, I used to never give readings off of this particular deck. I don't know why. It was just always, you know, a one-card draw, but over the Halloween or Samhain, whichever way you look at it, over the Halloween and Samhain holiday, I gave my first reading off of this deck. I was shocked, and it came out really good, and I was actually able to give a balanced reading off of it. But this is just another one. Move it back some so y'all can see it. And I'm sorry for the lighting. The lighting kind of sucks in here. There you go. The Seed, Invention. You see, you can't, like, some cards you can give a balanced reading off of, as you can see from the name. Some of them you can't. I personally only buy decks that I feel as though I can give a balanced reading off of. I don't really work too much with angel decks, dragons, fairies, all that stuff. For me, I just can't work with it. This is also another type of deck that, this is the Chakra Zodiac deck by Cinnamon Crow. And personally, this is the ugliest deck I've ever seen, but I'm in love with it because, as you see, you have astrology. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. You have astrology. Let me see if I go through the astrology. I should have pulled these cards out before. And then you have there's chakras in this deck. You also have some of the, I love it because she put in some of the asteroids that most people don't put in decks. But yeah, then she oh, where's all the chakras? Alright, then she has the elements in this deck. So it comes out, oh, here go the chakras, and she has the chakras and stuff in this deck. So that's, you know, different Oracle decks. Now, again, with most Oracle decks, it depends on the book and how they want to read it, or you can read it any way you want. Now, the reason this is up is for the tarot decks. I personally love tarot. Let me move some of these Oracle decks out the way so I have more room. I love tarot, not because I can give a balanced reading, which I can, but because it gives me so many different ways to read it. And personally, I like options. There's many different ways to read tarot. There's a couple of different ways. If you're familiar with any one of these ways, then you automatically can read tarot, and you probably never knew it. So one of the first ways to read tarot, which you see over here, is through the elements. Excuse my sloppy writing. Another way is astrology, numerology, or the Kabbalah. And the other thing with tarot is if you know one of these, you kind of know them all, or at least you got the basic concept of all the other systems. And of course, again, I'm keeping it very simple, but you can go as deep as you want to. So what I mean by that is we're going to start with the minor arcana, which basically is the number cards and the core cards, but the core cards I'm going to do separately. So, and right now I'm using, for the minor ones, I'm using the Thoth Tarot deck, because I personally connect with Thoth Tarot more so than any other decks. And when you look at the cards, you can kind of see, you kind of already see what elements it goes to. So as you see right here is all the ones are the aces. And as you see on the board, oh, the camera shifted, but the aces is the top, the aces is the top. Sephiroth and the Tree of Life. This is a horrible drawing of the Tree of Life, but it is the Tree of Life. And the tarot connects to Tree of Life, so does astrology, so does numerology. So like I said, if you know one, you kind of got a concept of them all. So with the aces are the spirit of the matter, and that goes down into the core cards too, which is over here where it says aces spirit. So aces is basically the true spirit of the matter, what's really going on. It's the card that connects, it's the closest card that connects you directly to that unmanifested divine energy. That's the best way to explain it, because once you start in the Tree of Life, from here, these are things manifested, not necessarily in the physical form, but in the mental form and in the emotional body form. So you have, so this is one way of reading it. You could read it with the numbers, obviously 1, unity. And these are the ace cards, and all the ace cards basically are all the elements. So you have your wands, which is your fire, your cups, hope you can see that, which is your water, your swords, which is your air, and your pentacles, which is your earth. So you can read these, when you pull the cards, you can read about one being unity, or the actual element, or combined element of the cards. So you know the unity of fire, of wands. Wands is fire. What is fire? Fire is creativity or destruction. Fire either creates or destroys, and in truth it does both at the same time. It has to, when you start a fire, you have to destroy the oxygen around, so it can, so the fire can eat it up, and whatever's actually burning, but it's also creating warmth, it's creating air, it's creating heat. So it's both at the same time. When you look at cups, cups is water. Well, what is water? Water is emotions and intuitions. Swords is air. What is air? Thought patterns. And you know, when you think about thoughts, your thoughts is actually the first thing that divides, and that's what the sword does. It cuts and divides. And then you have your discs, or your money, or your pentacles, or earth, or all things manifested. So that's, you know, it's just a simple way to read. Now, again, you can read this, if you want to read it by astrology, you can read it by astrology, and I'll show you that card, which makes sense. The twos. Now, keep in mind that, and you should know by now from the videos, that in your minor arcana, you have different suits. So you have your wands, like you saw in the aces, your discs, your cups, and your swords, which all are different elements. So when you go to the numbers, you'll have your two of discs, which is right here. You'll have your 2 of wands, your 2 of swords, and your 2 of cups. Now, I already explained the different ones. So doing this through astrology, you know, astrology, the twos deals with the whole zodiac, which means just all possibilities. And when you see, as you see in this 2 of disc, which we know that this is earth, you see the snake, but the snake is making an infinity symbol, and then you see the oh, I forgot what this is called, the yin yang symbol. And you also can look directly at astrology, because it shows you right here that this one this particular 2 deals with Jupiter, and it deals with Capricorn. So you know the energy of Jupiter is expansion, and the Capricorn is the energy of using. So you can also read it like that. And you can also read it just in general. The 2s of the Sephiroth all deals with wisdom, and it deals with all the zodiac, which basically say when you have wisdom, you have endless possibilities. So you have those 2s. When you go to the 3s, And hopefully this is helping you to understand. And again, at the same time, it connects everything. When you go to the threes, first, well, ignore this part of let go regrets. It works, but when you deal with threes, you're dealing with the energy of Saturn. And also you're dealing with, over here, or if you go to the Tree of Life, you're dealing with the Sephiroth of understanding, which is the number 3. And when you look at Saturn, Saturn really deals with your understanding. Saturn is also your karma, but it's not what most people think, you know, karma is stuff you put out, what you get back. But it's more, karma mostly deal with your thought patterns. If you think bad things will happen. Basically, it's your understanding of life. How you understand the things around you is how things will react to you and how you will react to it. So when you look at threes, you're dealing with the energy of Saturn, which basically starts patterns. And as you see, all these threes basically are starting different patterns, and that deals with the energy of, again, Saturn. So 4, when you go to 4, you're going now on the Tree of Life, you're going towards the pillar, the Sephiroth of mercy, which is also Jupiter. And Jupiter deals with, as you see, luck, prosperity, and also deals with expansion. So with that being said, you know, the 4s deals with expansion. Now, to bring numerology into this, 4, in the way that I do numerology, it deals with doors. Everything is a door. So, and you know, when you expand something, you create a doorway, you open a door. Jupiter deals with expansion. So the 4s all deals with some form of expansion. And again, you can still go with earth, the elements. This will be earth. For the disc, this will be wine, so this will be fire. And as you see, you got the fire in there. Swords, air, you have the blue shades in there, and then cups would be water. So now you have different ways of looking at just those cards. Now I'm not going to do every single number because you have it up there, or show you every single cards in the deck, but when you go to 5s, you go to strength. Strength is also Mars. Mars is nothing more than energy. When you look at numerology, number 5, 5 is also considered motion and also protection. Now, Mars being energy. You know, energy has to move. If you're always moving, you're always protected, because when somebody comes back for you, you're never in the same energetic spot for them to get you. So, and at the same time, you're moving. So when you deal with 5s, you're dealing with all things motions. Now, if you're familiar with the Thoth Tarot deck, you know, or familiar with Aleister Crowley's teachings, as you go down here, he kind of debases or make it seem like it's evil. And the only reason why he does that is because as you go from here, which is higher mental thoughts, and then you get higher connection, spirit, and then you get more mental and emotion, and then finally you get manifestation. So he looks at it as, you know, once it's manifested, it's done. So that's why he considers this part like debased or the beast or whatever you want to call it. Let's see. Again, 5s, real quick. 5s deal with energy. Then you have 6. 6, as you see on the Sephiroth, deals with beauty, and it's also the sun, if you're dealing with astrology. So beauty basically is how, if you have a lot of energy, then you can find beauty in anything. 6, basically all the energy that you built up here and all the movement, 6 actually houses that energy. And in housing that energy, obviously you have a bright sun. This is when you learn what to do with that energy. You go to 7, which is Venus. Can you see that? Yeah. 7, which is Venus, which is considered pleasure. This is the area of victory. So, you know, all 7s also in numerology is number of completion. So when you're dealing with 7s, you're dealing with completed things, or completed thought, well, not necessarily manifested, but completed thought forms. And when you have completed thought forms, when you fully understand something's fully complete, then you can see the beauty in it, leaving back up to 6. And then once you truly understand it and have a thought form on it, then you have the victory, because now you have a thought form to do something with. Then you have 8. Now that you have a thought form to do something with, here's Mercury, the messenger, which also deals with thought. And now you can put these thoughts into motion, which is why Mercury is splendor. And 8 also deals with infinity. It deals with possibilities. And here go the cards, the 8 cards. So, and again, you can still, if you want to do it that way, you can read it by the actual Tree of Life, which 8 deals with splendor. You can read it by astrology, 8 is which would be Mercury. All the 8s deal with planet Mercury. You can do with the elements. And again, you have the different elements for each number. So, and it goes on and on to 9 and 10. I might also do 9 and 10 since I already went there. 9 is the moon, and you know, moon deals with your intuition. It deals with mood swings, like it says, moods and behaviors, which is the foundation. How you feel about something is the foundation. That's why it has foundations. And you know, 9 is also a new door. And in the Kabbalah world, 9 is the foundation. It's the last thing you go through before it actually gets manifested. Because when you build anything, you have to have a foundation first. Building a house, you have to put down the foundation first for the house to get built. So, you know, with 9s, it deals with foundations, be it good or bad. And again, you could do the elements, you could do the number, which is a new door, which is a doorway to manifestation, or have you read it. And then all the 10s deals with actual manifestation. It deals with earth, it deals with the kingdom, and different way, and it's different way to read those too. All the same different ways for 10s. And you know, the number 10 actually breaks down to the number 1, but you know, some people read it that way, some people don't. And number 1 is number 10 is just a different form of unity. When you actually start reading numbers, you know, 1 and 0, the 0 is actually inside the 1, but if you separate 1 and 0, it's the male and female together, and it's all manifested. It doesn't necessarily mean it's balanced, but you know, those are the 10s. So hopefully that helps you with that. Now, next to that, you have the court cards. For the court cards, I'm going to, I'm sorry, not the court cards. Well, yeah, I'll go ahead and do the court cards. For the court cards, I'm going to switch to a different deck because different decks have different names for their court cards. Let me bring this down some so you can see over here. Different decks of tarot have different names for their court cards. So this particular deck is the Gilded Tarot. And we already did the aces because we know the aces go at the top. They deal with the spirit of the matter. Now, in the court cards, all of them have still the elements. You have the King of Wands, which, first of all, the king, as you can see over here, they don't have king, but they have prince. Same thing. Again, the prince deals with the Thoth Tarot deck. So the Thoth Tarot deck, they're prince and not king. But in this deck, they're kings. And in most decks, you'll probably see a king instead of a prince. And this is why I'm using this one. You have the King of Wands. Well, we know that already the kings deal with air. So when you see this one, you know wands deal with fire. So when you're reading this card, you're dealing with the fire element of air, which is basically saying air deals with thoughts, fire is creation. So creating thoughts, creating ideas. King of Wands, again, king is air. King Cups. King is air, Cups is water. So this is the water element of thoughts. So basically how you feel, your intuition about that thought. The King of Swords, which is basically air of air, which is basically just double thought, rethinking that thought. And then the King of Pentacles, which is basically the manifestation of that thought, because Pentacles is earth. So you can read about the elements. Tarot does not have to be that hard. So with that being said, now you have the queens, which the queens is all water. So when you see the Queen of Wands, you know that it's the fiery part, because wands is fire. This is a queen court card, is water. You know that it's the fiery part of water. Well, it's the creative aspect of your intuition. What is your emotions creating? Are you overfeeling something? Are you being angry over something and you're creating a situation based off your anger and not really taking the time to think about it? You know, it's not that hard once you understand the different elements to read in tarot. You can literally read any deck by any of these means. So basically, again, we have the queens, we have the knights, which knights are fire. So Knights of Wands is fire. Basically creating it, the thoughts created, so now let's get creating. You have the Knights of Cups, which again is the water of fire. Also your emotional ties to what you're creating. You have the Knight of Swords, the thoughts about what you're creating. And you have the Knight of Pentacles, which is, oh, I'm sorry, I hope y'all barely seeing it, which is the earth form, the manifested form of what you wanted to create. Then you have the Page, or the Page in this case, if you're going by Thoth Tarot deck, would be the Princess, which is earth. I like the Thought Tarot because to me, when you deal with male and female energies, it's a little more balanced. But this one is more of a, I want to say this one is based off for Rider-Waite deck, Rider-Waite Tarot. I don't have his actual traditional deck, but I have these, and I have one more deck that I love too, that was given to me as a gift. Thank you, Brave Hawk. But these are all dealing with Earth. Pages are Earth, or if you're dealing with the Thought Tarot deck, the Princess is Earth. So you have Earth, you have the Earth energy of Earth. You have dealing with the Source, your thought about Earth, and your thoughts about the things that you have around you. You have the Cups, your emotional ties to the things you have around you, and you have your Wands, what things you have around you that you can use to create with. So that's that. Now, getting into the major arcana, I found that connecting it not necessarily to astrology, but connecting to the paths on the Kabbalah, which, let's see if I can bring this back up again. Connecting it to the paths on the Tree of Life actually made it very easy to read for me. You can connect it to astrology, which in most cards, when you get them, they'll have, it may be hidden somewhere on them, but normally somewhere is an astrology symbol, like the Fool. Well, the Fool is obviously connects, if you look on what is this? On the Tree of Life, you can see that the Fool, connects the first Sephiroth to the second Sephiroth. And the second Sephiroth deals with the zodiac signs. Well, you see here on the Fool, you have all the zodiac signs. So basically, it's just saying the Fool deals with all possibilities. You know, we've been taught that the Fool is the bad thing. The Fool is someone stupid. No, the Fool is not someone stupid. It's someone who takes risks. They have nothing to lose. So why not? Just go ahead and try it out. You know, the Fool is the one who takes the plunge to get things going and just sees endless possibilities. So now, if you're going to read this according to the Tree of Life, the magician has the path between Kether, or number 1, and number 3. So from between the crown and unity and understanding. Now, in knowing that, you know that between unity, you and the unmanifested world, or the spiritual world, and understanding, or your karma. So basically, the magician deals with what he knows. He deals with his understanding. So when you're dealing with the magician card, you're dealing with different forms of understanding and how your thought patterns create your life. And you see that in the magician card. He has his wands, he has his cup, he has his sword, he has his pentacle. Basically, everything he has understanding about is how he's creating the world about him. This is the magic that he's making. Let's see. Oh, this video is getting long. The High Priestess. The High Priestess, if you can see, is actually connecting this one to beauty. So the High Priestess really does deal with your how you spiritually see beautiful things around you. And again, this is just one way of easily understanding it. You could also go with the zodiac form on these, and normally most cards will show you somewhere hidden in there. Like, I don't see it on these cards that much, but normally somewhere in there is hidden the zodiac sign. And I don't have my major arcana of the Thought Tarot deck. Oh, yes, I do. Here we go. So, like, you have here, you have full element fire. You have Mercury, which, as you see, this is Mercury, so this path deals with Mercury, because, again, this thought patterns, understandings. Also, this is actually a good one. Also, if you're learning you can also read these cards by, if you know the Hebrew alphabet, you could read the major arcana by the Hebrew alphabet, which this also goes through with the paths. And the Hebrew alphabet also connects to certain scriptures in the Bible for those who do Bible magic. And again, also the tarot, you know, you can also use for magic. And this video is getting too long, so I'm going to cut it. But as you can see, hopefully you can read the different paths and you can understand the ideas of each one by reading the paths. And again, you can also break down the cards through the elements which you see here. This particular understanding, this Sephiroth, it deals with water, which you got Magician and the Lovers, and the Lovers connect between water and air, because this whole section deals with air, this whole section deals with fire, and then this bottom part down here deals with the 10th Sephiroth, Earth. It deals with, obviously, the kingdom deals with Earth. So there are different ways to read tarot, so that just so that, you know, you understand that you don't have to always be confused or think it's very confusing. Just pick one. If you want to read about the elements, start there. Now again, tarot can go very deep, and you also use a magic, but just to start out reading, start reading from the elements if you know the elements. If you know the Kabbalah, start reading from the, well, if you know the Kabbalah, you pretty much should know tarot, but start reading from the Kabbalah aspect, from the different trees and how the paths and stuff match. If you know astrology, read from an astrological point of view. There's so many different ways to read tarot. That's why I love it. And once you know one way of reading tarot, or if you know numerology, read it through numerology. And the core cards is just a little bit different, but you can read the core cards through the elements easily. Once you know one way of reading it, you kind of also have an idea of all the other systems. And when you're ready to go deeper, you go deeper, or you can just keep it simple and leave it there. So this video has gotten really, really long, and I'm sorry for that. But I wanted to just give an idea, explain different ways that you could read it. Hopefully it was understandable, and I will see you next week. Peace and blessings. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to Witches of the Moon, and watch all the beautiful videos that everybody's putting out there. Peace.